Hi, I'm Annabelle, and today we're going to be talking about the second section of the Major Arcana, which is the interpersonal journey of the Fool, and cards 8 through 14. So thanks so much for being here. I hope that you're enjoying this series. Let's bring up the cards so that we can talk about them as they help our Fool develop into a full-blown recovered spirit. So we left off with the Chariot card in the personal journey, and that was where the Fool was starting to grab onto his ability to manifest and process through the world. So one of the things that happens when we're adolescents is we get very excited, especially adolescents that or young adults that are becoming autonomous and moving on into their own lives. And so sometimes there's a bit too much enthusiasm there. They may jump in and be a little too eager, whether it's in a relationship or a new job or a new apartment. They may overbuy for a house. They may get 3 dogs instead of just 1. They may just be a little bit overzealous. So here in the interpersonal journey, we learn strength, which is moderation. We'll talk more about moderation in the Temperance card, but strength is more important. If you remember, our Emperor card was a velvet robe with the suit of armor underneath. It's very soft touch, but a firm, resolute meaning. This strength card wants us to tap into that energy. But it also tells us that the best things are not necessarily achieved in a moment. So time and patience is a virtue and a value for this interpersonal journey. It's a very important thing. So here we are learning how to make diamonds out of coal. We are using a slow and steady pressure to correct that lion, to make sure that that lion is sweet and generous with us. But beware, because with the strength card, it is also a continuity of control. So this is a control that the Fool needs to learn to maintain for his life. This is not a temporary kind of handling. If we let up on the lion may turn on us at some point. So you do need to understand that some things need to be controlled. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the Devil card as well in the next phase. Our Hermit card here, and everyone's always afraid of the Hermit card because he looks so lonely. He's out in this frozen tundra. What's the deal with this guy? Our Hermit has actually isolated himself. Why has he done that? Because going into adulthood can sometimes be baffling. Sometimes we're hit with a lot of information. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff that is coming at us all at once, and we need time and quiet to process that. The Hermit takes his information, takes his knowledge, and goes out into the frozen tundra with this light of illumination. This is universal knowledge that he brings with him. And he just goes out there so he can hear himself think. It's a great card to get. It's solitude, it's self-care. We have to learn how to do that as adults. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, again, we're talking interpersonal. This is how the world is affecting the Fool, how the other people around him are affecting him. And the Wheel of Fortune is about the ups and downs of life. Sometimes life will crush you. Sometimes you've got to take the garbage out. Sometimes you have to eat the cupcake. There are 2 different sides to everything. Remember, lots of duality in the tarot. So the Wheel of Fortune is telling us either you're up or you're down. Sometimes you're on top of the wheel, sometimes you're getting crushed by it. But both of those things have to happen within nature and within our adulthood. So if the Wheel of Fortune flips over for you, don't panic because it's going to flip back over. So our Fool is going to be just fine rolling through the good luck and the bad luck in life. The Justice card. Now, the Justice card I do like very much, and it can indicate legal proceedings, contracts, relationships, NDAs. It can be prenuptial agreements, those kinds of things. But really, what it is the guiding lines that keep good and bad people in their place. So it really is the rules that hold us fast. And if you don't follow those rules interpersonally, you can wind up in trouble or you could wind up hurting someone. So it is a call to follow the rules, follow the laws of the world, and to behave accordingly. But a lot of the time it does come up as legal things. So make sure that in your readings, you give it careful consideration. There is a bit of balance in that as well. Again, the interpersonal journey focuses on values, balance, choices. This is a choice between good and bad, not necessarily good and evil, but good and bad. So the hangman, we move on to the hangman. And this is such a critical point of the interpersonal journey for the fool, because the hangman is looking at things from a different perspective. Our fool, or your client, is now looking at the way that their actions have affected the world around them and the people around them. So this is such an important card of self-awareness and awareness of how we affect others. The death card. I know everybody's afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the death card. The death card is about inevitable change. There are things that inevitably are going to happen to us. We are going to age. We all are going to die at some point. I don't know anyone who hasn't. So hasn't met that. But when we look at the death card, it's about the things that we have to accept. We have to accept death as an ultimate final chapter for each and every one of us. We have to accept that the body degrades. We are aging just as we speak. Things are processing and moving. Time and tide waits for no man. My grandfather used to say that all the time. So in the picture, of course, we have Death who rides a white horse, a white pure horse. But we have the king and the pauper who have both been ridden over by death. And we do have also the two different reflections of how people respond to death. We have the priest who is very solemn and welcoming and says, yes, this is a spiritual change. And then we have another character who is very upset by it and crying. So the idea behind the death card is that we cannot be phased by inevitable things. And lastly, we have the Temperance card. And we talked a little bit about that in the Strength card. The Temperance card is about balancing those good and bad things in your life. It could be a work-life balance. It could be a drinking and not drinking balance. It could be feasting and not feasting. It could be all of these things. We want to make sure that we maintain good balance with all of the aspects in our lives, be it terrestrial and spiritual, because in the next phase, we are going to be talking about our universal development, which is even more important because that is what our guides and our gods are going to see when we transition again. So I hope you'll join me in the next one. I will see you soon. Drop your questions down below. I love to hear it. I'm more than happy to answer anything. See you in the next one.